Who benefits the most from electric vehicle subsidies? Consumers who are contemplating the purchase of an electric vehicle, EV, have consistently placed the cost of an EV as the most significant hurdle they face in their decision-making process. When it comes to taking into consideration the purchase of an electric vehicle, this is one of the most significant challenges that customers confront. According to the results of recent polls, this is the situation. Over the past few years, these polls have been carried out as a result of the fact that the prices of electric vehicles are typically set at a level that was previously reserved for luxury automobiles. It is less likely that the average consumer will be able to afford an electric vehicle. This is the issue that arises as a result of the fact that electric vehicles generally have a lower likelihood of becoming inexpensive. In order to encourage consumers to acquire electric vehicles, the federal government has developed a subsidy scheme that would provide rebates of up to $5,000 to customers who purchase specific types of electric vehicles. When it comes to the broad adoption of electric vehicles, there is a financial barrier that stands in the way. The objective of this effort is to support a more widespread adoption of electric vehicles by lowering that barrier. The expenditures associated with this project are substantial, despite the fact that it is a component of a more comprehensive effort to reduce carbon emissions and encourage the use of modes of transportation that are less harmful to the environment. In spite of the fact that it is a part of the initiative, this results in the consequence. Because of the subsidy program, the federal government has incurred a total expenditure of more than $900 million over the course of the past 2 years. This is a significant amount of money. Within the confines of the current year alone, it is anticipated that the government will spend more than $600 million. On the other hand, if one were to conduct a more comprehensive analysis of the program, one would discover that the bulk of the individuals who are receiving these substantial subsidies are Canadians who have higher salaries. If the review were to be carried out by one person, then this would be the situation. There is a disproportionately high concentration of electric car ownership among families with high incomes. Due to the fact that electric vehicles are more expensive to purchase, this is the case. One of the most important factors that is driving this trend is the fact that electric vehicles have starting prices that are much higher than conventional vehicles of the same type. However, the cost of electric vehicles is significantly higher than that of traditional autos. An investigation that was carried out by Global News revealed that there is a significant correlation between the levels of income and the ownership of electric vehicles. The findings of this investigation were presented in the form of findings. The results of the investigation served as the catalyst for this revelation to become a reality. The investigation that was carried out included a comparison between the data regarding the registration of motor vehicles and the figures regarding the household income for federal electoral districts. This comparison was done during the course of the investigation. The numbers made it plainly clear that locations with higher median household earnings also had higher percentages of people who purchased electric vehicles. This was the case in places where the median household income was higher. It was the case in both the public and commercial sectors that this occurred. For example, a more in-depth investigation into the 7 federal ridings in Vancouver revealed a definite correlation. The higher the degree of wealth in the riding, the bigger the number of electric vehicles that were registered for every 1,000 people. This was the case regardless of whether the riding was located in Vancouver or Ottawa. In the end, it was found out that this was the situation. We started with the ridings that had the lowest incomes and worked our way up to the ridings that had the highest incomes. The ridings were organized in a descending order of their median income, beginning with the ridings that had the lowest revenues. The point was brought to light through the usage of this image. To make the conclusion that the federal incentives for electric vehicles are mostly beneficial to Canadians with higher salaries is a legitimate conclusion to reach when considering the situation. Because this pattern is comparable across the various parts of the country, it is possible to arrive at this conclusion. This is the reason why this conclusion is feasible. Some individuals who are skeptical of the subsidy plan believe that this pattern demonstrates that there is a significant flaw in the policy they are referring to. The problem with this system is that it appears to benefit people who are already financially well off to a disproportionately larger level than other people. This is the fault that this system has. This effect, on the other hand, is not only predictable, but it is also vital, particularly in the context of pushing the adoption of cutting-edge technology that is both fresh and innovative, according to those who advocate for the program. They argue that early adopters, who often come from higher income groups, play a substantial role in the process of boosting market demand and bringing down costs over the course of time. This is because early adopters tend to be from higher income groups. They stress the significance of early adopters in their research. The individuals in question are of the opinion that this is something that is honest. It is a strategic decision that is meant to drive the expansion of the market for electric vehicles, which will ultimately result in price reductions that will reduce the cost of electric vehicles and make them more accessible to a wider variety of consumers in the future. One way in which this objective might be achieved is by offering financial support to customers who have a higher level of wealth. Taking into consideration the particular context of this point of view, this is in agreement with the worldview that is being proposed. In point of fact, there are indicators that this strategy might be successful as the prices of electric vehicles are beginning to decline. This is a positive sign. This is a sign that shows promise. The procedure in question is currently being considered as a result of this rationale. For instance, the average price of a brand new automobile in Canada for the month of March was around $64,000. This is just one example. This is just one example among many others. One of the most essential things that I wanted to bring to your notice was the fact that this statistic covers both gasoline-powered and electric models. Nevertheless, in spite of this, there are approximately 30 different models of electric vehicles that are currently available for purchase in Canada, and the pricing of these vehicles are lower than the average-priced vehicle. This was already the reality that existed prior to the implementation of the federal subsidies that were meant to help the poor. There is evidence that the efforts that are being made to stimulate the market through subsidies may be leading to a gradual fall in the pricing of electric vehicles. This is evidenced by the fact that this is the case. During the years to come, the utilization of these automobiles has the potential to pave the way for increased accessibility and acceptance, which might be a consequence of this. During this time, the government continues to place a significant amount of importance on the overarching goal of shifting to modes of transportation that are both more sustainable and less harmful to the environment. This is true regardless of whether or not the debate on whether or not subsidies for electric vehicles are fair and efficient is still ongoing. The objective is to make electric vehicles a feasible alternative for a bigger part of the population. This will be accomplished through the ongoing development of the sector as well as the availability of solutions that are more affordable. In my opinion, there is a good chance that this will be successful. Following this, there will be a reduction in the overall dependence on fossil fuels, which will contribute to the achievement of environmental goals on both the national and international levels. This will be a positive development. Consequently, this will be the result of this. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel.